Hi, recapped here. Today I'm going to explain a horror sci-fi movie called A Quiet Place. Day 1. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie begins with a note stating that the average noise decibel in New York City is 90, which is equivalent to a constant scream. The scene then shifts to a hospice, where we meet our protagonist, Sam, and her therapy cat, Frodo. Sam is a cancer patient who is currently participating in a group therapy session with others. She announces that she has written a poem, which excites everyone, but then she goes on to say how awful this place is and how she dislikes everyone around her. This makes all the people uncomfortable, but the caretaker, Ruben, applauds her and thanks her for speaking out. Afterward, Ruben has a private conversation with Sam. He reveals that he has planned a small outing for the patients, and they are all going to a theater in Manhattan. Sam is hesitant, as she really hates the city, but Ruben manages to convince her with the promise of pizza. After this, Sam heads to her room, where she feeds Frodo. She then applies anesthetic patches to alleviate her pain, without which she cannot survive. In the following scene, Ruben takes the patients to a theater, where they watch a puppet show. Sam befriends a man named Henry and his little son, who is excited to pet Frodo. She appears to enjoy the show at first, but soon becomes emotional and starts crying. After the show, Sam exits the theater and meets Ruben, who has just gotten off the phone with someone and seems worried. He informs her that something has happened and they must return to the hospice immediately. This angers Sam, as he had made a promise to her. She insists that she won't leave without the pizza, and they get into an argument. When Ruben says he's just trying to be a friend, she rudely responds that they aren't. Sam then boards the bus and notices several patients huddled in the back, watching something terrifying happen outside. Before she can figure out what's happening, a meteor-like object falls from the sky and lands directly in front of them. Shortly after, several hostile alien creatures appear and begin terrorizing the city. The entire area is covered in dust, and Sam notices some aliens devouring people in the distance. During the chaos, she is thrown against a wall and knocked out. After some time, she regains consciousness and finds herself inside the theater. Henry immediately covers her mouth and gestures for her to be quiet. It turns out that these aliens are blind but have a keen sense of hearing. They respond to even the slightest of noises, making them deadly predators. Meanwhile, Sam realizes that she has been rescued by Henry and quietly thanks him. She then spots Ruben among the survivors, and both are relieved to see each other alive. Shortly afterward, Sam notices Frodo in the distance, who has also survived. She goes after the cat, but he accidentally brushes past a bell, attracting an alien. It appears that both of them are going to be slaughtered, but luckily, some helicopters begin flying overhead. The sound from them diverts the creature's attention, prompting it to go in that direction. Meanwhile, military helicopters make announcements instructing civilians to remain silent and hidden until authorities can rescue them. Sam then witnesses the bridges leading out of Manhattan being bombed to prevent the creatures from fleeing, as they are unable to swim. This means that the survivors are trapped in this location with nowhere to go. A man suddenly begins to panic, saying they are all doomed and will die soon. Henry grabs him and attempts to cover his mouth to avoid drawing the alien's attention. When the man still doesn't stop, Henry hits his head against the wall, accidentally killing him. In the following scene, Sam uses a notebook to write and communicate with Ruben. He tries to devise a plan to return to the hospice, but she informs him that she's going to Patsy's Pizza. This initially makes Ruben laugh, but he quickly realizes that she's serious. Just then, the theater's backup generator goes off, making extremely loud noises. Panic spreads among the survivors, so Ruben and Sam rush downstairs to shut it off. He successfully stops the noise, but rips his shirt in the process. Unfortunately, this attracts an alien, and it brutally finishes him off. In the aftermath of this incident, Sam is left deeply distraught. Her only friend in this large city has been shredded to pieces right in front of her. But Sam still wants to visit Patsy's Pizza because that's obviously the most sensible thing to do right now. The next morning, she takes her cat, Frodo, and heads to Harlem. On the way, she comes across two terrified children. Sam consoles them and shares her candy to make them feel better. Not long after, the military announces plans to evacuate civilians from South Street Seaport via boat because the creatures are unable to swim. This fills the survivors with hope, and they start rushing towards the evacuation point. Unfortunately, the aliens are quickly alerted by the noise and start attacking the people. The city then descends into chaos, and Sam is separated from Frodo.
Find you again, Mr. Frodo, I swear it!
She narrowly escapes being trampled and hides under a car for safety. After the chaos subsides, Frodo is seen wandering through the streets, looking for water. He comes across another survivor named Eric in a large puddle. The man seems to be having a panic attack and is crying. At this moment, Sam eventually finds her cat and embraces him in tears. She then continues on her journey despite the constant danger. Eric, who doesn't want to be left alone, starts following her as well. Soon after, it begins to rain, which allows them to talk quietly. Sam advises Eric to go in the opposite direction, where he can find a boat to escape. However, he says that he's very scared and insists on walking with her. In the next scene, they arrive at Sam's apartment, only to find the door locked. She then instructs Eric to kick it open right when thunder strikes. The plan works, and they eventually manage to enter her room. As Sam searches for her medications, they formally introduce themselves. Eric reveals that he is a British man studying law in New York. Sam also opens up about her cancer and how she doesn't have much time to live. She tells Eric about her plan to visit Patsy's Pizza before she dies. Upon hearing this, Eric feels bad for her and offers to accompany her to the pizza store. Sam tries to explain that it's dangerous, but he insists. While they are talking, Eric comes across a book of poetry written by Sam and learns that she is a published author. He also discovers through her poems that her father used to play the piano. When the lightning and thunder become more intense, the two begin to scream and release all of their frustrations. The next morning, Sam gets up early and heads to Harlem with Frodo. But it doesn't take long for Eric to find them, so she reluctantly has to bring him along. As they try to quietly navigate through the streets, they make an unintentional noise. This attracts a horde of aliens who begin chasing them mercilessly. The trio then seeks refuge inside a building, but the aliens show up there as well. Fortunately, before anything tragic can happen, Eric comes up with a brilliant idea. He sneaks outside and throws a rock at a car window. This causes the alarm to trigger, diverting the aliens' attention momentarily. Following this, Sam and Eric enter a subway tunnel, which is covered in blood and debris. It turns out that a collapse had disrupted the train system, causing flooding in the tunnel. With no other choice, they navigate the murky waters and travel down the makeshift river. Moments later, an alien descends from a collapsed portion of the ceiling, searching the tunnel for any humans. Eric begins to panic while submerged in water up to his neck. Sam tries to silence him, but the alien hears the noise and follows them. Fortunately, the exit is filled with water, which causes the alien to drown. The duo then manages to escape with Frodo and eventually arrives at a church. Shortly after, Sam begins to feel very sick and needs her medication for the pain. This worries Eric, so he asks for the names of her medicines. After getting the information he needs, he sets off alone in search of a pharmacy. He soon arrives at one, where he manages to find her anesthetic patches. On the way back, Eric is briefly startled by someone's presence, but it turns out to be the cheeky cat. After a while, they arrive at the burning wreckage of a structure that has been completely taken over by the aliens. Eric begins to panic again, but the mature cat guides him out of there safely.
I may be the cat, but you're the pussy.
They then return to the church with Sam's anesthetic patches, bringing her great relief. Shortly after, Sam reveals the actual reason for her obsession with Patsy's Pizza. She tells him about how her father used to take her to a jazz club where he played piano. Afterward, they would always go to Patsy's Pizza, which was close to the club. Sam states that since she is going to die anyway, she is determined to relive a childhood memory one last time. When Eric asks where her father is, she responds that he passed away a long time ago. The following day, the trio sets off again in search of Patsy's Pizza. They eventually make it to the restaurant, only to find its windows smashed and its facade broken. Sam and Eric sit silently for a moment before hugging each other tearfully. He suggests they go to the old jazz club where Sam's father used to play, and she agrees. When they arrive, Eric asks her to wait and heads to look for leftover pizza in nearby restaurants. He eventually manages to find one and writes Patsy's on the box. After this, he returns to the jazz club to share it with Sam, which makes her extremely happy. The three of them then eat the leftover pizza, and Eric also entertains Sam by dancing and performing a card trick for her. Following this touching scene, they head outside to see the river, where a boat transporting a group of survivors is leaving the dock. Since the aliens are unable to swim, they are intensely searching the city for any remaining humans. Seeing this, Sam gives her yellow cardigan to Eric and also hands Frodo to him. It's clear that she wants them to survive, even though she might not live much longer. Eric understands what she's doing and bursts into tears. However, Sam urges him to be brave and heads off to cause a ruckus. She runs in the opposite direction of Eric and starts smashing car windows to draw the aliens' attention. Moments later, Eric finally gets up and runs for the docks. He inadvertently kicks a rock, causing a sound that prompts the aliens to follow him. However, just as they are about to catch him, he dives into the water with Frodo. It turns out Henry is on one of the boats that's about to leave. He soon notices them and stops the boat just in time for them to climb up. After the near-death experience, Eric discovers a farewell letter from Sam in the cardigan pocket. She tells him to take care of Frodo and thanks him for making her feel alive and free for the first time in years. Sam is especially thankful to Eric, as he took her to the place where she always found comfort in the memories of her father. In the final scene, we see Sam in front of the burnt-out Patsy's pizzeria. She takes one last look at a photo of herself with her father, who is wearing the same yellow cardigan. She then wanders into the street, listening to music, without a care in the world. Moments later, she deliberately pulls out her earphone jack, causing an alien to quickly appear behind her. The movie then comes to an end before Sam's fate is shown on screen. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.